Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters, old and young, and welcome back to another live Ask Eman. Today we have our Shaykh, our noble Shaykh, Shaykh Wasim Kempson, today to answer any of your questions that you may have regarding Ramadan, or just to tell us know how your Ramadan is going, inshallah. The number to call is 0203 515 0769. Otherwise, you could, we're live on YouTube, so if you have any questions, please do drop them in the comment section in the YouTube, inshallah. So without further ado, we go straight into it, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you doing today?
I'm very well, barakallah. I've been receiving many compliments today.
Okay.
Many compliments.
MashaAllah, about what, ya Shaykh?
Wallahi, and there were some brothers saying that I looked my 20s, so maybe feel very happy.
I mean, I thought you were 23 without,
yeah,
obviously, mashallah.
Yeah, no, may Allah bless them.
Ameen, Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. Ya Shaykh, so obviously we're nearing towards the end of Ramadan now.
No.
We've got around 5 days left or so. And the question that's on people's minds is Eid, and with this lockdown. So what is happening with Eid prayer in this lockdown?
Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ba'd. It's good you've straight off the bat asked this question, because I think it's on most people's minds with regards to Salatul Eid, whether that's going to be on Saturday or Sunday. Allahu a'lam, we don't know. Don't ask me that question because I don't know the answer. But with regards to what do we do now, I think first and foremost, because it's an issue which the scholars have disputed over and have discussed, and no one is in a position, first and foremost, to say this is how you do it and there is no other way, okay? Or this is what you're not allowed to do and that there is no other way. And I think that an appreciation for scholarship, an appreciation for the different views and opinions that do exist needs to be respected. And not just Salatul Eid for that matter, but with regards to many fiqhi issues, right? It is not correct for us to say in Islam, for example, that this is the view and the only view. Yeah. That is not always the case. There are sometimes other legitimate and valid views. That as a beginning, that the ulama have discussed whether you will pray it. Some say you do, and some say you don't. So whatever position you do take, it is an acceptable view, first and foremost. Let's say that, okay? It's not for us to say we're right and you're wrong. There isn't any precedent during the life of the Prophet ﷺ that they weren't able to pray Eid. They were able to pray Eid all the time, alhamdulillah. And we know that the Prophet ﷺ would go out of the masjid into an area just outside, maybe like 300 or 400 meters outside of the masjid. And they pray and they would establish Salatul Eid there, and everybody would attend. So there's no precedent in the life of the Prophet ﷺ. Similarly, in the early times of the Khulafa, there's no issue of them establishing Eid. Now, there is a couple of narrations from the companions, and from them, Anas ibn Malik. And this is, I guess, the strongest evidence that is used to say that one who missed the Eid prayer, or if one was unable to, that you can then establish it and pray it in your family as a congregation. The strongest evidence is pretty much that it's used, and the narration is authentic. So based upon that, there is a view to say that you can pray Salatul Eid at home with your family. Even if you pray alone, you can pray alone. But if you're together at home, then you can pray at home in a jama'ah without any khutbah. There's no big reminder. You just pray and offer Salatul Eid as you would in the masjid. So if you begin it with 7 takbirat at the beginning, and the second rak'ah you do 5, then that's how you offer your Eid. So however you would usually offer your Eid at home, in the masjid rather, that's how you do it in your home. There is another view that there are some conditions which are similar to Jum'ah, that you need 4 people and things like that, and say therefore if we don't have that, then we wouldn't. It's a valid opinion. What seems to be, and I think the narration of Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu is sufficient to say that yes, you can perform Salatul Eid at home with your family, and you offer it in a way that you would usually offer Eid, wallahu a'lam.
And with no khutbah, you mentioned.
No, there's no khutbah.
No khutbah. Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. So there you go, there you have it. That's how you pray Eid prayer in these difficult times. We pray, inshallah, we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lifts this whole pandemic off us. We have a first caller on the line, so we go straight into it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Hello?
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's your name and where are you calling from, sister?
My name is Louisa. And I'm calling from London, West London.
Okay, and what's your question today, sister?
My question today is, we bought mustard and I want to know if it's halal because it contains spirit vinegar.
Sorry, can you repeat that question again?
We bought mustard.
Okay.
It contains spirit vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to know if it's halal to eat.
Jazakallah khair, sister. Very good question. So they brought mustard and it has spirit vinegar, or in ketchup there's white wine vinegar. Is that halal to consume?
Not while you're fasting.
Yeah, definitely not.
But after you break your fast, it's okay, inshallah. Not a problem for you to use. It can't intoxicate, can't make you drunk, anything like that. And those vinegars are fine to use, so not a problem.
Jazakallah khair. Was that your only question today? No, Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. So, ya Shaykh, there was this question that I've always wanted to ask, and it's, what's the difference between MashaAllah and Allahumma barik? You know, these phrases are being thrown around, people saying MashaAllah, Allahumma barik. Eid is coming up. I know people are going to be taking pictures, sending them to friends, family. No. They're going to get with the MashaAllah, Allahumma barik. Which is the correct? Which one do we use?
Yeah. Okay, so MashaAllah, if you want to kind of like tarjama harfiya, is like a literal translation, means like what Allah willed. So you see something and this is what Allah willed, okay? But obviously, you know, when you just say it in English, you know, maybe you walk into somebody's house and they've got a beautiful little child and you say, oh, what Allah willed, doesn't have the same kind of feel about it, does it? So the intended meaning of when you say MashaAllah is what a beautiful thing Allah has willed.
Yeah.
That's the intended meaning behind it. Secondly, with regards to Allahumma barik, is that you're asking Allah to place barakah, to bless that what you have seen. When we see something which is nice, good, is pleasing to the eye, as the Prophet ﷺ told us, that if you see something with your brother or your sister is good, then you should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless that. Okay, that Allah gives some form of barakah in, whether it's a car they have, or whether it's a new member of their family, or whether it's a new job that they have, or some blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them, that you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless that what has been given to them, so that no kind of no evil eye falls onto that. You know, you have it within yourself, maybe you're a little bit jealous of that and you cause the evil eye. So therefore you should, as is found in the hadith, the correct way of saying it is to Allahumma barik. Allahumma barik lak fi, may Allah bless you in, and that whatever that has been given to you. Sufficing by just saying MashaAllah is okay, but it is better. It's better to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless that what that person has been given.
Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. That kind of takes up a lot of confusion with people. The other question is from WhatsApp. So if you do have any questions on WhatsApp, please do send a message to the WhatsApp number on 07422398833. Before we go to the WhatsApp message, we go straight to the caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
What's your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Samaya Emma from Stoke-on-Trent, United Kingdom.
Okay, mashallah. And what's your question today, sister?
I've got two questions, if you don't mind. The first one is about sadaqah. I want to know which is the best form of sadaqah and sadaqah sharia. To pay to, where is it best to pay to? And the second one is with regards to praying Tarawih during the last night of Ramadan, when you intend to pray and you really want to pray, but by the time you've read Quran, and you've got to the end of the time, you're feeling very, very tired, and you know that you're not able to pray the Tarawih because you're so tired, so therefore you decide to sleep, although you wanted to and you really wanted to, but sleep, and I think it was so strong for you that you couldn't pray the Tarawih prayer. So I just want to know what happened in that situation.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, sister. So just to understand your second question, you said that you're trying to pray, you're doing as much ibadah as possible, but you find it quite difficult because you get tired and sleepy. Is that correct?
It's just on one occasion. It wasn't all the time, but usually what I do is I pray my Isha.
Okay.
I pray my Isha, I read the Quran, and I do some bigger. But I was so tired, I was so sleepy.
Okay. And so you're wondering what you missed out, basically, on that ibadah. How could you make it up?
Yeah, I wanted to do the Tarawih, it was in my intention, but I was so tired and I thought I'd better to sleep rather than to pray and not know what you're saying.
That's fine. Jazakallah khair, sister. So the first question is sadaqah. What is the best form of sadaqah, sadaqah jariyah? Who should we give our money to during these times?
So the best sadaqah, the best charity you can give is that, first and foremost, is what your own hand earns in terms of mal, not sadaqah. The best wealth you can earn is that what you earn yourself. And the best charity that you can give is that what you will spend on your own family. Okay, so this is the best sadaqah that you can give. Is that what you spend on your own family, supporting them and looking after them. The next question, with regards to what has happened in the past, you were unable to stay awake due to being very tired. I mean, it is done now. You intended to pray, but circumstances were that you were unable to actually offer that prayer due to being so tired. We hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for your intention, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. In the future nights, or whatever nights that are remaining now, then I'm asked what's better, to recite Quran or to pray. But say praying is better. Why? Because praying consists of both recitation and standing in prayer. So you you're doing two things instead of one. So even if you can offer salah, even if it's 2 rak'ah, just offer 2 rak'ah. If you're very, very tired, at least, and you're on your back and things, just make istighfar. At the very least, make some form of ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ask Allah to bless you and so on. And make lots of dua, as much as you can, in the hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer your supplications.
Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. I pray that answers your question, sister. If you do have any other questions, please give us a call again. We have another caller waiting on the line, so we go to it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum assalam, brother. What's your...
my question was regarding, I think a couple callers ago, the Shaykh said that it's okay to have that mustard because the alcohol content won't intoxicate you. However, I was under the impression that things that intoxicate, even in large amounts, are haram even in small amounts. So I was wondering for some clarification on that.
That's fine, brother. Jazakallah khair.
Sure. So it's a good question. So what stops me from taking a teaspoon of vodka or whiskey?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that won't intoxicate me either. And the brother is right in the hadith that what intoxicates in small amounts, in large amounts intoxicates, then therefore is haram in small amounts. Right.
Yep.
So what I said to you in that, it can't possibly intoxicate you. That is because it no longer, and this is a vinegar, by the way.
Yep.
Okay, vinegar won't intoxicate you anyway. It can't make you drunk in the first place. So maybe my answer was a little bit misleading. But let's hypothetically say, there's a pastry. So I've answered that clearly, yes?
Yep.
The vinegar can't make you drunk in the first place.
Yep.
So that was a little misleading, my answer. I understand that. I buy pastry, and you can buy pastries, and it has alcohol in it. Okay. Will this pastry make me drunk? Even if I was to eat, even if it's physically possible, as stuff myself with this, I couldn't become drunk. Why?
Yeah.
Because the properties of this alcohol, which exist in the pastry, are no longer there.
Yeah.
Intoxicating properties are not there. So that's the little bit I should have added to make clear. In the sense that it can't intoxicate you because its intoxicating properties are not there. That spoonful of whiskey or vodka, the properties of intoxication are present.
Okay.
That's why that would be haram.
Yeah.
Okay. So if a product contains something which you buy a sauce, you buy a sandwich, because its intoxicating properties are no longer there because it's mixed with all of these other ingredients, then therefore it is not a problem, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Barakallah.
Jazakallah khair for the Shaykh for clarifying that. May Allah bless him. Yeah, Shaykh, what about in terms of, cakes and stuff, they might have a bit of rum or anything like that. Is that haram?
Yeah, so those cakes or sweets which have a concentrated part of rum, that rum in itself is alcohol, which has intoxicating properties.
Okay.
So then therefore we'd say, no, that's not allowed for you to consume, all right?
Okay.
That's not allowed.
What if it says vinegar?
Vinegar and cakes don't work very well, but let's say, for example, you had vinegar in a cake. Vinegar's fine. Vinegar doesn't intoxicate anyway, so it's not a problem, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. So in that, you mentioned that the alcohol itself is no longer intoxicating because it doesn't have the alcohol properties.
Yes.
What about in terms of gelatine or sweets and Haribos, etc.?
Yeah. So any sweets, whatever company that is, whether it's that company or there's hundreds of companies that make sweets, but any sweet that contains gelatin, because at times it doesn't tell you the origin of that gelatin. It could be from fish, but more than likely the gelatin it's made because it doesn't say it's suitable for vegetarians. It's from a meat source, so most likely to be from pigs.
Yep.
Okay, and if it does make a differentiation, it says bovine gelatin, which is of course from a cow. Now those animals haven't been slaughtered correctly, So it would be considered from that perspective haram, is najis.
Yep.
Now the second question is that it goes through a process that a chemical change, because it's heated at very, very, very high temperatures. Does this change the nature or the chemical nature of this particular product? There are scholars who say, yes, it changes. It's no longer its original form. So therefore, there's no problem you eating that. There's another view to say, no, it doesn't change enough, and the impurity remains there. And so therefore, because it represents enough of inside the product, it doesn't completely disappear. So in the jellies and in the the mousse that you can buy, that's what gives it this kind of like congealed, kind of sticky substance. So it's still there. And what seems safe, Allahu A'lam, is that really those sweets with gelatin, unless it's made clear that it's halal gelatin, because you can buy gelatin. And also in supermarkets, you're looking to buy cakes and things like that, and some sweets they ask for gelatin. You can find kosher. You can find kosher gelatin. Comes in like packets and things like that. You can, because kosher, of course, Jewish food is allowed for us to consume. So you can use your own kind of gelatin as long as it's permissible for us to consume. If it's not permissible, then it should be best avoided. Wallahu a'lam.
Best avoided. Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. It's just one of them things that there's a lot of opinions on it, and like you said, it's kind of trying to choose what is right.
Sure.
So Jazakallah khair for that clarification. We have another call on the line. We go straight into it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What's your name and where are you calling from, brother?
My name is Salahuddin, brother, and I'm calling from Bradford.
MashaAllah. What's your question today?
My question is, on the Shahri time, when the Shahri time finishes and the Fajr starts, so can we just pray the Fajr namaz and go back to sleep?
Jazakallah khair. Is that the only question, brother?
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
So just to understand, is that suhoor has finished or sahri has finished and fajr has come in? Are we allowed to pray straight away?
Yeah.
Yeah, jazakallah khair, brother. So, yeah? Jazakallah khair. So the question was, suhoor has finished and fajr has come in. Are we allowed to pray that very second?
Yeah. So if the adhan is made and the time for that salah has begun, and you want to pray straight away, and you want to go to sleep, yeah, no problem, inshallah. But remember, what I would say is that the morning time for adhkar is also a good time to make lots of adhkar, okay? So you prayed fajr, and if you're awake anyway, depending on how tired you are, but if you pray your fajr early, and spend maybe at least 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes making some adhkar in the morning, and then you go to sleep, yeah, this is probably a better thing to do.
Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. And just whilst to our viewers, we know that Fajr has 2 sunnahs before the actual Fard. Can you tell us about the importance and the virtue of these 2 rak'ahs before Fajr?
Yes, so we know that with Salatul Fajr, there is a stressed sunnah to be prayed before, and that is 2 rak'ah. And in the sound hadith that the Prophet, Aisha radiallahu anha, said that the Prophet said that rak'atani, these 2 rak'ah which are established and prayed before the Fajr prayer, are khayrun min ad-dunya wa ma fiha. And that is better than that was dunya, this whole world contains. So it is really something that the Prophet, he would never ever leave. So we should try to establish that, inshallah ta'ala. And it's prayed lightly. It's not long, 2 rak'ah. You pray 2 rak'ah lightly before Fajr, and there is a great reward in that, inshallah ta'ala.
Jazakallah khair. Which leads me on to the next question, ya Shaykh, is obviously after Fajr, we know about the Duha prayer. A lot of people do not know exactly what the Duha prayer is. Can you tell us when the times are prayed, how many rak'ahs you pray, and what the reward is for the Duha prayer?
Yeah. So, Duha prayer has a few different names. It's called Salat al-Ishraq, or Salat al-Duha, or Salat al-Awwabin. The best time for it is not too long before Salat al-Dhuhr, when the day is getting, if you're living in a hot country, that is, when the sun is rising up. So maybe like, if you assume around Dhuhr is like 12 or 1 o'clock, maybe around like 10 or 11 is the best time to pray Salat al-Duha. The maximum amount of duha, rak'at of ishraq or duha is 8 rak'at. And we know that the Prophet ﷺ prayed thamani or 8 rak'at on the Yawm al-Fath. When he came into Mecca, ﷺ prayed 8 rak'at, Salat al-Duha. It is a highly stressed, it's a very good sunnah to practice. If you think the gap between Fajr and Dhuhr is maybe the longest of gaps between the Salah, So therefore, it is good. It's something to establish it in the morning time, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. From its the blessings that the Prophet ﷺ said, every person that wakes up, there is a haqq of giving sadaqah on every limb of your body. That praying salat al-duha will suffice that if you were to pray 2 rak'ah. Okay, so the amount of limbs that you have giving sadaqah for that, if you were to pray 2 rak'ah, it would suffice that. So it is a good sunnah to practice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Is it to pray 2, 2, 2 up to 8?
Yes, this is how it's prayed. That it is prayed in sets of 2. So if you want to pray 2, you can pray 2. If you want to pray 4, 4. If you want to pray 6, it's up to you 6. Pray up to 8, it's up to you.
There's a maximum for 8. Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. We actually have a caller from Bangladesh. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. I'm not sure what the time in Bangladesh is, but I'm going to have a wild guess, and these people have already broken their fast, so MashaAllah.
Maybe close to Fajr time then, maybe.
Yeah, I think, yeah, mashallah. Hope you guys are having a good iftar and maybe even suhoor now. So, straight to the question. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Hanif, and my question is, what does the Quran say about the girls' parents who refuse to get their daughters married to the boys who are jobless? Is it allowed to marry without a job? And what does this Quran say about the boys who have job but do not want to marry, rather enjoy girlfriends? And this is my question.
Jazakallah khair, brother. So the question was, just to extrapolate a little bit from the question, is can you marry without being financially stable per se?
Yeah.
If you don't have a job, etc.
Right. So it's not a yes or no answer. The context of where people are living will differ. The requirements and their situations. If somebody has a well-off family, but himself doesn't have a job, but he's fairly well off. Yeah, you could have circumstances like that. I mean, I think that if we listen to what the Prophet ﷺ told us, because it is important, what does the Quran say concerning a man who doesn't have a job and getting married? The Quran, in general, doesn't mention these specifics. The Quran mentions kind of guidelines and principles and how to lead our lives. And that we find the practice of the Prophet ﷺ and his hadith and his tradition is an explanation of that what you find in the Quran. Yes, marriage is mentioned. Yes, divorce is mentioned in the Quran. But not to this detail that the brother's asking. May Allah bless him and his family. So we know that the Prophet ﷺ said from the man's perspective that a woman is married for 4 reasons. And the best and the most important reason to marry a woman is فَظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَرِبَتْ يَدَاكَ, that the one who has religion, that's the most important thing that you should be looking for. Okay, that will make you happy. That doesn't mean you ignore beauty and things like this. Well, you can look for that, of course. Similarly, from the woman's perspective, the Prophet said, if somebody comes to you, تَرْضَوْنَهُ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقُهُ فَزَوِّجُوهُ, if you're happy with their religion, you're happy with their manners, their conduct, then marry that individual. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean, or it is not mentioned, if you're happy with their deen and their manners and their money. It didn't mention money. Okay, and sometimes because we can't get away from the fact that there are financial obligations upon the husband for his wife. Can't get away from that. Okay, no one's pretending to say, well, just get married and there are no obligations. There are certain responsibilities that need to be fulfilled. And if a person does something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah Jalla wa ala will provide for them. However, it is the wali's responsibility, the father's responsibility, to make sure that his daughter, okay, who's looked after for however many years, and he's spent on her and she's protected and she's safe, he's not just going to let her go somewhere, so she's going to in a place of suffering and difficulty. Okay, that doesn't mean she has to walk out of one place and walk into a palace, or she has to walk out from your home into something which is perfectly made. It doesn't work like this. Okay, so you have to be reasonable with regards to the circumstances and where you are living and what they can provide. Okay, the most important thing is religion, deen. That they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have good conduct, they have good manners, that they will treat each other in the correct way. And then, of course, the responsibilities that are upon the husband is that he needs to, financially support her. If he's unable to do that, okay, that he marries her and then she's just going to sit in a room and he can't do nothing for her and she will live a very difficult life, then you have to make a decision whether you want this to happen or not. Okay, I'm not saying it's haram. What I'm saying is that you need to make a decision. All parties, this is what I want to do in the future. So what I would say is that people need to kind of lower their threshold as to what they're leaving and going into. It doesn't need to be a villa, it doesn't need to be a palace, but it needs to be just something reasonable. Allah knows.
Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. So we, Jazakallah khair from our caller from Bangladesh. So we have another international call. So this time it's from Ethiopia, mashallah, tabarakallah. We go straight into it. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What's your name, brother?
My name is Mohammed.
MashaAllah. And what's your question today, brother?
I'm asking about tahajjud, and when is the best when is the best time to pray tahajjud, and the supplication for making the place to make dua. Like, is it on ruku or on sujood?
Jazakallah khair. So the question was, what's the best time to pray tahajjud, yeah?
Yeah, the best time to pray tahajjud, and how do we make dua for like our own duas?
Jazakallah khair, brother. Just out of curiosity, what's the time in Ethiopia at the moment?
It is 8:47 p.m.
8. Oh, p.m.? Oh, so it's only 2 hours ahead, mashallah. Have you lot broken your fast yet?
Sorry?
Have you broken your fast?
Yeah, we did, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. May Allah accept it, brother.
Ameen. May Allah accept yours too.
So, without keeping the brother waiting, so the question is, how should we pray tahajjud? What's the best time? And when do you make dua and ruku, sujood, etc.?
Okay, so the best time for the night prayer is in the last third of the night. You work that out by finding out how many hours between Salat al-Maghrib and Salat al-Fajr. And then however many hours that is, you divide it by 3, and then you'll find the first, middle, and the last third of the night. So the last third is the best. The best dua that you can make, well, in Ramadan, the best thing you can say, one of the best things you can say is, Allahumma innaka afuwan tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni, which is the advice that was given to Aisha radiallahu anha by the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So this is a frequent dua that we should be making in the last nights of Ramadan. Allahumma innaka afuwan tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Oh Allah, you are the one who pardons, you love to pardon, so pardon me. Say this as frequently and as much as you can. Okay. The best time while you're in salah is when you're in sujood. In salah, when you're in sujood. This is a perfect time when you are prostrating and humbling yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you to make dua as you like. If you're praying alone, you can make it as long or as short as you like. Okay? Imploring and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to answer your supplications. And you should know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He is called upon, that He will answer the supplications of His servants. Allahu A'lam.
Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. In terms of the night prayer, we're obviously trying to make the most out of it in these last 10 nights of Ramadan. And you mentioned earlier that praying is better than just reading Quran because you're reading and standing. In terms of the number of rak'ats praying, some people pray 8, some people, well, the most commonly is 8 and 20.
Yes.
Which one has more reward? Because by default, someone might say 20 has more
because more rak'ats.
More rak'ats. Is that true?
Sure. So, Ibn al-Qayyim, he talks about this actually. Is it better for you to perform more rak'at or to perform longer rak'at?
Rak'at, yeah.
Yeah. And with the longer rak'at, there is a longer standing, obviously, because of the recitation that you are making. As with the more rak'at that you're making, there's more prostrations that you're making. So there's a valid argument on both sides as to what's preferred, because obviously when you're standing, you're reciting the Quran, which is the best dhikr, the best remembrance a person can make, which is the Quran. This is on one side, and another person may say, well, I'm making lots of prostrations, and that's the closest I will be to my Lord. So there's an argument for both. However, the actions of the Prophet ﷺ can be deciding matter for us, that as Aisha radiallahu anha narrates, that the Prophet ﷺ would pray 8 rak'at in Ramadan and outside Ramadan. Wouldn't go above that. And then after that, he would add 3 witr. Now, this number isn't a strict number, meaning that you can't go above that. Okay? Because we have the actions of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu in establishing Taraweeh, meaning to be 20 rak'at. This is what he saw to be favorable at that time, and it's within his own ijtihad and his own rulings on that matter. Absolutely fine. The Prophet said, عليكم بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين من بعدي. You follow my sunnah and the sunnah of the rightly guided caliphs, and from them is Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. If a person is saying, what is the very best I would like to say? I'd say that the actions of the Prophet ﷺ are best. But if a person wants to do more than that, And that doesn't mean that you're going on and above what the Prophet ﷺ did, because even if you pray 8 rak'at, it is a highly unlikely you're going to pray like the Prophet ﷺ when he prayed 8 rak'at, because he would pray 8 rak'at very, very long, very, very long. And for most of us, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't stand for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours in salah. So it's easier for me to make more rak'at, okay, and I feel there's more of an achievement, an injaz in me in praying like this. It gives me a lot more time to rest. So from this perspective, you do what is, inshallah, is more closer to your heart, that you feel more relaxed and concentrated in your salah than you do, inshallah, bearing in mind what I've just mentioned.
Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. So that's a kind of the answer for anyone who's thinking about should they do 8 or 20. Inshallah, is whatever you feel more comfortable and the one that allows you to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this blessed days of Ramadan. So we have another caller on the line. We go straight to it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Mariam. My name is Mariam. Yeah, I'm calling from London.
MashaAllah. And what's your question today, sister?
My question is regarding someone, taking a loan to study nursing. Yeah. So having that loan, can you do sadaqah in that loan or you can't?
Sister, are you referring to the maintenance loan?
Yes, the maintenance loan. Yes.
Okay. So the maintenance loan given by student finance?
Yeah, given by student finance. That's correct.
Jazakallah. So the question is, this is not the loan taken from a bank, rather it's taken from student finance. England is a maintenance loan given to the student. Are you allowed to give sadaqah onto that?
So the maintenance loan you shouldn't take out. It's not allowed for you to take the maintenance loan. The loan that you will take out for your studies is a separate issue. Some of the ulama permit that because they see it as a form of investment from the government. Others see it as problematic due to it's based upon inflation situations, and there may be kind of a ribawi or interest kind of attachment to that. So there's a legitimate difference between that. Okay, if you've taken it out, and you paid for your studies. May Allah make it easy for you. The maintenance you shouldn't take out a maintenance because that's completely separate from your studies. It's difficult to justify to take that out. Point being that if you have a loan, am I allowed to give charity? As long as you're fulfilling the agreement of paying back the loan, that by you giving charity does not delay the person that you owe money to or the institution that you owe money to, then it's allowed for you to give charity. Okay, it's allowed for you to give charity just as long as you're not delaying the individual or institution in the money that is owed to them. They are a priority over you giving sadaqah. The debt that you have is a priority to be paid off rather than you giving sadaqah. But it is allowed for you as long as you, as I mentioned, don't delay those who you owe. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh, and I pray that person that their studies are going well, inshallah ta'ala. We have another caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Faisal speaking from Cardiff, Wales. I just wanted to ask the Shaykh what the procedure should be for Eid al-Fitr Salah at home, because there seems to be a debate on whether we should pray it at all or how it should be performed, etc. Because we won't be doing it in masajid or Eidgah, etc. So what's his advice on that, please?
Jazakallah khair, brother, for the very good question. Brother, we have many of these questions coming through. The Shaykh, may Allah bless him, have answered this question already. Just for the interest of time, brother, I would say if you could watch it again on the YouTube, is on the YouTube page at Eman channel. This particular episode is live at the moment, so you could rewind and watch the answer the Shaykh has given. Just for the interest of time, have you got any other questions?
No, that was my only question at the moment.
I do apologize, brother. It's just that we're trying to answer as many of the unanswered questions if possible. I do pray that you understand. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum. We go to the other caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My question is, and answer is before we do salah, we do wuju. We clean up face, hand, foot, feet, because dua is God, how much you make beautiful my soul, make my beautiful face, make my beautiful body. Then we stand in front of God, we pray salah. The Pakistan side, when they after dead, they shoot, put, tie, flower in they put in the grave. I never seen the people talking. So I asking to the Mufti Sahab, this terrorist going heaven?
Let's just move on to the next caller, inshallah. So, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum, caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To yourself, Shaykh Wasim Kempson.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Hamad Tariq, calling from Birmingham, and my question is regarding Sajda Tilawa. If it is done outside the prayer, can one make it long and make any kind of du'as in it, or does it have to be brief Sajda?
Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum.
So, is that the only question, brother?
Yes, Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So the question was in tilawat, there's ad'iyah that when you're reciting, do you make that as a dua or do you just keep on reciting it as normal?
So if somebody is reciting the Quran outside of the prayer, there are certain ayat which represent, like I said in the dua form, رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَّدُنكَ رَحْمَةً. There are many du'as like this. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. These are du'as, and if your intention when reciting that they are a du'a for you, then yes, that's absolutely fine. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, that your actions are by their intention. And so not only inshallah ta'ala you are, if this is what the question, this is what the Brother Hamad Zallah Khair is asking, that during the recitation, that if when I pass by certain ayat which are also a du'a, and I intend with that recitation the meaning of the du'a as well, then that's no problem, inshallah ta'ala.
Jazakallah khair. In terms of, so we don't have much time. I wish we can keep it going. There's so many questions. Jazakumullah khair, everyone, for tuning in. Just a point on the Eid Salah and the arrangements for it during this lockdown. Obviously, this is on people's minds. So if you can watch today's episode today, inshallah, to answer, because the Shaykh have answered that question, please do on YouTube. It's the very first question, so you should watch, start off the episode, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Shaykh, have you got any final words in the last 10 seconds?
10 seconds? MashaAllah, not under pressure. Make sure you don't allow any night pass except you're making qiyam and dua and sadaqah.
Jazakumullah khair. Take care. See you later. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.